Hi guys, welcome to Miss Rich and Mr. Both's video on experiments in colonial democracy. Let's get started with today's bell ringer. We would like you to identify the qualities of a good leader. Please write on your slide 1 to 2 qualities of a good leader. This is up to you and your personal opinion. Think about what you would like to see in a leader that you are working with. Pause this video and answer the question in your Pear Deck slide. Push play when you're ready to move to the next slide. Welcome back. Here is what we are working on today. You have completed the bell ringer, and the next thing that we're going to cover is some information about the 2020 presidential election. Depending on what time you are working on this, it very well may be election day, and it's important that we take a look at some of the information behind that. We are also going to focus today on 2 experiments in colonial democracy. We want to focus on a crisis in Jamestown, specifically the Starving Time, and we also want to look at the Mayflower Compact. We have a video specifically for you guys to take a look at that. What's due this week? This week, your week 8 assignment is a quizzes test review. Remember, next week there is a test. I repeat, woo, woo, woo. Next week there is a test. Please make sure that you complete week 8's assignment. And if you're in Mr. Bolt's class, please make sure that you are completing your weekly self-check. Pause when you're ready. Push play. What are our learning targets today? What should you be able to do after today's lesson? We would like you to focus on and identify leadership qualities that you admire. We would also like you to determine how strong leaders respond during times of crises. Specifically, the crises that we're going to look at today involve early colonial settlements in what is now the United States, or the 13 original colonies. Next on our list is a mock presidential election. You guys are too young to vote, although your parents are not. Many of your parents are going to be voting either this week or have already voted in early voting. What we would like you to do is to take the opportunity to vote as well. We've created a fake ballot for you guys to use. You can vote for all of the candidates running for president on this link. Click this and click this link here and answer the question. Remember, this is your opinion. It is anonymous, and we're just interested in seeing what the class is thinking. Pause and push play when you're ready to come back. So this should be a refresher for everybody. Today we're talking about colonial democracy, but in order to pay attention to the colonial democracy, we really need to refresh a term that we've used in a couple of weeks earlier. When we were learning about the Iroquois Confederacy, we learned about representative democracy. This is a government system in which voters or citizens are able to choose their government leaders and laws. Specifically, we elect leaders to make decisions for us. In the case of representative democracy, we elect electors or representatives in government to make decisions in the government for us. For example, one of the things on the ballot right now is a congressman position that is on the Broome County ballot. I believe it is Anthony Brindisi versus Claudia Tenney. We also have state representatives too, like Fred Akshar, who is running again for New York State Senator. If you guys remember back to the Haudenosaunee, we learned that clan mothers are chosen and the clan mothers go on to choose the leaders, similar to what our representatives are doing as well. So once again, if you are not certain with the term representative democracy and you'd like to review, head back to your study resources folder. Pause and push play when you're ready to move on to the next activity. Mr. Bolt and I have selected a primary source document from Jamestown, which is one of the first English settlements in the original 13 colonies. Jamestown is in Virginia, and you guys might remember some things about Jamestown, including very famous residents, John Smith and Pocahontas. Although the story is nothing like the Disney, we know that those 2 individuals were at Jamestown. However, we know from these primary source documents that Jamestown was going through a rough patch. We are now going to read a diary entry of someone who lived in Jamestown during the winter of 1609 to 1610. Heads up, folks, it gets pretty dark. Here we go. In the winter of 1609 and 1610, we had little food and no help. As for corn, provision, and contribution from the savages, we had nothing but mortal wounds with clubs and arrows. As for our animals, we had hogs, hens, goats, sheep, horse. The loss of our ships of 500 within 6 months after Captain Smith's departure, there remained not past 60 men, women, and children, most miserable and poor creatures, and those preserved, for the most part, by roots, herbs, acorns, walnuts, berries, and now and then a little fish. They that had starch in these extremities made no use of it, yea, even in the very skins of our horses. Nay, so great was our famine that a savage we slew and buried. The poorer sort took up against him and ate him, stewed with roots and herbs. Once amongst the rest did kill his wife, powdered and salted her, and had eaten part of her before it was known, for which he was executed. Now whether she was better roasted, boiled, or barbecued, I know not of, but such a dish of powdered wife I never heard of. This was the time which still to this day we call the starving time. Wow, pretty dark, right? Let's unpack some of that, folks. Head to the next slide. Based on this passage, what did the settlers of Jamestown have to eat during the winter of 1609 and 1619? Pause to answer and play when you are done. Some of you may have noticed that in this passage there is described roots, herbs, acorns, walnuts, berries, and a little fish as the food that these people had to rely on during the winter of 1609 to 1610. It's important to note, though, those of you paying attention, that the diary entry is also describing cannibalism. There is a Native American that is allegedly eaten, as well. Allegedly, there's a settler that eats his wife. Now, we do include this shocking information to grab your attention, but also to emphasize how difficult it was for these people, specifically these 60 people, to be left in the town of Jamestown, Virginia, with little to no support and little to no food. The next question that we have for you guys is, how might a good leader respond to this situation? This is a question where we'd like you to bring your personal opinions into this question. What do you think somebody could do to lessen the suffering of the people in Jamestown? Pause when you're done writing. Push play when you're ready to move to the next slide. Once you get to this slide, we'd like you to watch this video about the pilgrims who came to the 13 original colonies on the Mayflower, specifically in the year 1620. They do something pretty radical once they arrive to the New World. These people are going to sign what's called the Mayflower Compact. Watch this video to learn more about these people and why they make the decision to do this. Once you are done with the video, head to the next slide. Let's return back to experiments in colonial democracy. The Mayflower Compact, as we heard in our video, was a list of rules and laws created by the English settlers who traveled on the boat of the Mayflower. Specifically, this decision is made to protect the interests of the colony they were settling up. We know that many of the passengers were specifically Puritans from England who had recently come from the city of Leiden in Holland. Now, that religious group was forced to get along with the group that they call the strangers. These are people sailing from England who are trying also to set up a new life in the New World. These groups are going to face tension throughout their journey, but at the end of the day, they realize they have to work together in order to survive. Just like the folks in Jamestown, the people of Plymouth Plantation, or the people who arrived from the Mayflower Compact in what is now Massachusetts, have to work together to survive a very brutal winter that does involve some cases of starvation. They're going to set up the Mayflower Compact to protect them and to create a system of rules where everybody is going to have a say in how the government operates. How is this an example of representative democracy? Answer the following question and head to the next slide. For our last slide, we wanted to share some information about the candidates running for president. We had 4 candidates available for you on your fake ballot. We had the Democratic Party's candidate Joe Biden, the Green Party candidates Howie Hawkins, the Libertarian Party's Joe Jorgensen, and Republican Party's incumbent President Donald Trump running for re-election. You are absolutely under no obligation to click these links or donate money to any of these candidates, but we did want to provide you with websites to each of the candidates' personal pages so that if you choose to, you can learn more about any of the candidates that you like. Have a fabulous election day.